Hey everybody, Steve Foster here. I've got my new Magnum Research switch bolt here. I wanted to spend a little bit of time and talk about the bolt removal when you're cleaning the gun, and as well as putting it back in. I've had a couple of questions about that, so let's go ahead and take down the gun. This is a carbon fiber barrel through Magnum Research. I've got my charging handle on the left side. I've got it topped off with my Vortex razor. Right now, this is one of my backup guns, so it's in a Blackhawk Axiom stock. I've got a Magnum Research trigger, and I've got a tandem cross takedown knob here. It's titanium. These things are great. So let's go ahead and take the bolt and receiver out of the gun. All right, just like that. All right. In order to get the bolt out, one of the things you need to do, of course, is you need to take out the trigger. So go ahead and slide these pins out. Just use a punch or an Allen wrench. These are stainless steel. All right, here's this trigger. Small aside on the trigger. This is the factory trigger. It's an aluminum housing, aluminum trigger. It's got just a little bit, see, just that little bit of pre-travel to it, and it breaks it right at 3 1/4 pounds, and the reset is ever so slight. So for a factory trigger, man, this thing is hard to beat for the value for sure. So it's one piece machined. It's fantastic. The other kind of cool thing about this is the bolt hold open. It's a button. One of the things you can replace is the magazine release to drop the mag there. So we got those two out. I've got one of my buffers in here. The factory Magnum Research comes with a stainless steel buffer. One of the downsides to the stainless steel, especially from Magnum Research, is when you take the receiver in and out of the chassis or stock or whatever, it always seems to fall out. So not a big deal. This one's got a special type of tubing that allows it to avoid corrosion against harsh chemicals and whatnot. So it's just a piece of tubing and then a pin. All right. So we got most of it taken down. The only thing left to do at this point in time is to take out the charging handle. I think it's this one. We'll find out here in just a second now, won't we? Oh, let's see. These are facing towards me. Yep. There's that one. Again, the switch bolt, you can put the charging handle on the right side or the left side. If you're a left-handed shooter, just be careful when you put it on the right-hand side. Sometimes the rounds or the spine casing will hit the bolt and fly them forward into the chamber. Once in a while that happens, but just be careful if that happens to you. All right, now we've got the inside of the bolt. It's machined aluminum. It's very, very high quality. So in order to get the bolt out, it's going to be tough to do it this way towards the camera, so we'll see if I can do it. Is you pull it all the way back, there's a notch in the receiver that the bolt has to go around, and then you can kind of lift it up. And I didn't think I could do it. All right, and then you just tap it, and then it comes out. So here we've got shot it a couple times to make sure that it functions correctly. So here we've got the bolt. All right. Recoil rod and spring. The difficult time that a lot of people have with putting these bolts in and out is that there's a little notch, and it may be a little bit tough to see right down here. That's where the recoil rod needs to go into. So you have to compress the spring of the bolt on the recoil rod in order to slide it back in. So let me go ahead and do that for you real quick. So I take the bolt like this. It's going to be tough to do it at this angle. You feed the spring right in the little notch for the recoil rod. So the recoil rod goes right through it. So you compress the spring on the rod. So as you put it in, see, now you've got the recoil rod through the bolt, and you need to compress this as you flip this over. When you flip it over, you just set it down there, and you can let the recoil rod or the recoil spring go, and it'll slide right into place. And then you slide the bolt right in. All right. So let me do that again real quick. It went too well the first time, so let me see if I can fumble and mess it up the second time. All right. So you just pull it back on the bolt, and then you can lift this front. There's a little notch right there. You lift this up, and if it doesn't come out like that because it's awkward, then you just take it upside down and you tap it, and then it comes right out. All right. So let's go ahead and do that one more time. So you take the recoil rod and the recoil spring, you compress it, you stick it through the back of the bolt, just like that. You compress it just like this, flip it over, and you slide the bolt in with the recoil rod or the recoil spring compressed, and then you slide it in. Did I get it that time? Yep. And then you slide it right in. All right. So that's how you get the bolt right out without bending a rod or springs or throwing stuff, and you know who you are out there. And then the reassembly is pretty easy. The one other thing that I'll show you since I got the gun apart is that if you end up buying one of my recoil, call them bolt stops or recoil buffers, is you always want to make sure that you got the bolt in there first. And then you take it and you just go ahead and twist it as it goes through, and then you've got to put your hand over here to make sure that you guide it in, and then push it just a little bit, and then it should slide right in. You know, slide in on that side. Well, sometimes if it doesn't come all the way through because it's under compression, you just got to kind of massage it a little bit while pushing on the one side, and see it pops right through. All right, even on both sides, and then you take the bolt stop, I call it a bolt stop pin, and then you just slide it right through. All right. So that's how you take it. That's how you take it apart and then put it back together again. Most people know how to put a trigger in. Just slide the trigger, put the pins back through, and then you slide the bolt handle, or you put the bolt handle in place. All right. So this is my Magnum Research switch bolt. That's how you take the bolt out when you need to clean the gun, and how to put it back in. All right, thanks everybody, I appreciate it.